Stephen Cohn is the executive director of the National Whistleblower Center in Washington, D.C. He said New York is rated one of the worst states in the nation for protecting whistleblowers.
There is no uniform federal law protecting all whistleblowers. So whistleblowers have to use state laws, and they go from terrible to very strong.
I never considered myself a tattletale or a snitch. Like, there's that whole negative stigma behind it. So I never even thought about it. Like, I would never do that. But I was a whistleblower. The pattern that was involved with our stories, although different facts, but the pattern, and that's the key. That's one of the keys in government corruption. There's a pattern. My family came here from Italy so that their kids, grandkids, nephews, nieces can have the education and opportunity that they never had. And how proud were they when I decided to be a teacher. I became a science teacher, and not only a teacher, I became a leader in education at a very young age. 32, went to Hampton Bays in Eastern Long Island. I became a school principal, a middle school and high school principal. They were so proud of me at what I've accomplished at a young age and what I was going to continue to accomplish. Why would I ever do anything to mess that up? I wouldn't. When I was a science teacher, Newfield High School in the mid to late 90s, I met Michelle Koenig, and we were close. Things got a little bit strange. It was around April of 2004. I went over to Michelle's house, and I noticed there was a young girl in her house. And turns out she was 16 years old, an 11th grader at Newfield High School. Michelle was her teacher. And I asked Michelle what she was doing there. I didn't know her. I asked Michelle, what is she doing there? And she said it was community service, don't worry about it. Now I knew, as a principal, as an assistant principal, I know what community service entails. It does not entail a student going over a teacher's house to hang out. Now, I was a school administrator at the time, a mandated reporter. I'm gonna just ask Newfield what they considered community service. What was this all about? And I did. And I never got a response from Newfield after I inquired. I never got any response. In February of 2005, I was at work and Michelle called me up to tell me that she was gonna be on TV or something at Madison Square Garden. It's the World Series of dog shows. I left work early and I went to Madison Square Garden, and lo and behold, I saw Stephanie there, her student. And I asked Michelle, why is she here? The next day, I asked Newfield again. Once again, they didn't get back to me. No further inquiry. I figured maybe everything was okay. Hopefully I was overreacting. I called AT&T just to get some questions about my phone bill. It seemed like it was a very high phone bill. Something wasn't right with it. And the woman on the other end said, sir, why don't you just go online and look at your phone records, just for future reference. And I told the woman I didn't have an online account. And she assured me, sir, you do have an online account. I'm looking at it right now. I actually went to the 7th Precinct in Shirley, New York. It's about a minute from my house. And the police officer at the 7th Precinct refused to take my complaint. He said, sir, it's not identity theft if no money was taken. I'm leaving work. It's around 4:30. I leave the building and it is cold winter day. Go in my car, drive through town, going home, and I hear somebody yell, get out of the car. Sirens flashing, and a few get out of their unmarked police car, and they say, Frank? And I say, yeah. They say, you're under arrest. They put me in an interrogation room. I got handcuffs on my wrist. They tried to break me down psychologically. It's going to be a rough go for you and your family. We're going to call the media, and we're going to ruin your life. That's what he said to me. And, they come over and they unshackle me. They get me off of the chain gang. Like, oh, this is great. Finally, I'm going to go home. They put me in the front of the line, and they recuffed me. And we exit the doors, and I got the red carpet treatment in the worst way. All the media was waiting for me. I remember trying to look away so they couldn't see my face, and I looked away from the cameras. But they got me. Cameras just all over in my face. Click, 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 click. They called me, I was a terrorist. I was a predator. Stalking people. They weren't kidding when they said they were going to destroy my life and my family's. When I got home, I opened up the envelope, and the first complaint floored me. It was Michelle Koenig. I couldn't believe it. And I started moving through the papers. Her student, Stephanie, they tried to secure 50 more complaints against me over the next few months. And I mean, they just brought people out of the woodworks. They tried to get my own family members to file complaints against me. Anything to bolster their case. The New York State Education Department put a hold on my license, so I couldn't earn a dime now. And that's what they wanted. They wanted something so that I couldn't fight them anymore. And slowly, over the next year or two, I started to lose everything. Gone. Every month, I had to redefine rock bottom. Every time I thought I hit rock bottom, I would sink further. I just kept on falling. Nothing. They found nothing after what amounted to a 3-year investigation. Cleared. Go back to work. Terrific. Hampton Bays actually interviews me. Now, I wasn't supposed to be interviewed. I was supposed to just go back to work in my principal job. So I show up to these interviews with my tail between my legs, and I get questioned by people that I hired, basically, sitting around a table. In the midst of all that, I discover severe racial discrimination.
Now, do you know what the process is? Like, what's the process? Well, they're gonna interview on Monday and Tuesday. I mean, I've already crossed out 6 people in my mind. Another one is a young girl.
She was one of the 6 people that was out before they even interviewed. Never had a chance.
One big nigger walked in, and we fucking that lady. We ever hire a person like that? You just know the KKK was running out of town.
When I tried to say something about that, I have proof of the conversations. Once again, I was just shut down, and that sunk me even further. I was basically blacklisted from every public school and anywhere. So now I'm living in my car. I couldn't end my life that way. I just became my own attorney and my own private investigator. And I discovered in the files a sworn statement given by Michelle whereby she actually admitted that she stole my identity. And she called and emailed the woman I dated. Basically everything I was arrested for, she admitted to. Well, and when I deposed him, he admitted to being in possession of something from my criminal file. Something that I claim proves his relationship with Michelle. Conveniently, Detective Wayne Heater decided that wasn't important to turn over to my defense. The county attorney, Marshall Lynch, shows up to court a year and a half later with an affidavit from Detective Heater saying it's destroyed. He had it in his possession. It says destroyed. Not only was it destroyed when he had it on him, he stole it from the file. Cover-up was well in place. How much trouble would he have gotten in if he turned it over? Everything that should have happened to her happened to me. It involves so many offices. I reached out to everybody, from local to the highest level, the governor's office. And the amount of officers involved in this cover-up, now at this point they're just protecting themselves because of the cover-up. It's always worse than the crime. I mean, you got Middle Country School District, Hampton Bays School District, the Suffolk County Police Department, they're involved with it. The District Attorney's Office, you have the New York State Education Department. When I finally got to Commissioner Mills at the time, put somebody in charge to see what was going on, the person that was in charge of that investigation was the head of that office. There is nobody in charge of the State Education Department. Nobody. They can do whatever they want. In fact, the Attorney General defends them. You can't go to the Attorney General. Assistant Attorney General for Suffolk County actually basically yelled at me over the phone and hung up on me. When I told her kids were being abused, she said,
"I'm sorry, I wish there was something I could do for you. I looked at it from every aspect I could, and our office is not the place that can assist you. Listen, okay? I've given you your 10 minutes, I've given you much more than that, and I'm sorry that this is hard to hear, but this is the wrong place for you."
She just hung up on me. She didn't care. She didn't care. Everybody prospers. Everybody moves on in life. Except the person who did what he was mandated to do, or risk consequences, and that was me, the whistleblower. no matter how many officers were against me, no matter how many people, how many entities with unlimited money, I decided to write a book, Standing on Principle, to get the facts out. Started my own radio show. Just promised to be the voice for others, the voice that I never had. And that's what we do now as we crusade to bring justice.